Thomas Jefferson spent years attacking Federalists for expanding federal power, only to have to do it several times himself in his first year as president in 1801. Jefferson's inauguration on March 4th, 1801, which John Adams doesn't attend by the way, and yes, it's because he's upset he lost. The whole event is deliberately designed to be the opposite of Adams' presidency. No fancy carriages, no elaborate ceremonies. Jefferson literally walks to the Capitol and gives a speech so quiet that half the audience can't even hear him. He was also pretty shy, but the message is clear. The Federalist pomp is over. And he starts cutting things immediately. He pardons everyone in prison under the Sedition Act, he lets the Alien and Sedition Acts expire, and begins firing Federalist officials. But Jefferson's attempt to undo what Adams did kinda backfires. Adams spent his final weeks in office appointing dozens of judges to lifetime positions, and these judges are embedded throughout the federal court system. There's not really anything Jefferson can do about it. But his new Secretary of State, James Madison, refuses to deliver some of these last-minute judicial commissions, including one to a guy named William Marberry, who was supposed to become a justice of the peace. So Marberry goes to the Supreme Court and says, hey, force Madison to hand over my commission. The Chief Justice of the Supreme Court is John Marshall, one of Adams' appointees, and a Federalist, and he's kind of in a bind with this. If the court ordered the commission delivered, Jefferson might just ignore it, which would weaken the court. And if they don't order it delivered, it would look like they're bowing to political pressure from the president. And Marshall has a pretty great solution. He rules that Marberry deserves his commission, but then he says the Supreme Court doesn't actually have the jurisdiction to force Madison to hand it over because that power in the Judiciary Act conflicts with Article 3 of the Constitution. So technically, Jefferson and Madison win. Madison doesn't have to deliver anything, but did you catch what Marshall actually did? He established that the Supreme Court has the power to strike down any law, any act of Congress, or any action by the president that it decides is unconstitutional. He just established judicial review in the US. In seeking to reduce government power, Jefferson handed the judicial branch, which at this time was packed with Federalist judges, permanent authority to overrule him. Meanwhile, Jefferson has a foreign policy problem. For years, North African pirates from the Barbary states have been capturing American ships and enslaving sailors, and every president before Jefferson just paid them tribute money to make it stop, but Jefferson thinks that's humiliating, so he decides to fight them. He sends a navy to the Mediterranean without asking Congress for permission. The same Thomas Jefferson who spent a decade attacking Federalists for overreaching executive power just launched a war on his own authority. So the First Barbary War begins, and it won't end for a few years, but overall, his first year as president is teaching Jefferson that shrinking the government isn't going to be quite as easy as he hoped. So make sure you follow for 1802 when his political war with the Federalists continues as the Barbary War intensifies.